Hi everyone, this is Jenny with Haphazard Book Nook. We are going to be doing a tier ranking list today with horror book tropes. I may have to use a couple movies in here if I haven't actually read a book with the trope. So let's go ahead and get started naming these. Alright, so the first one we're gonna do will be Will Always Read, because these are the ones I put on my TBR no matter what. Always read. I don't know why it's over to the side, but we're going to go with it. Next will be Usually a Winner. Sometimes I won't put it on there. Let's see. Depend. That one's I'm going to put depends on how it's handled. C is going to be needs other trope with it. And then D is going to be no. I don't know why this one is off to the side, but we're just going to roll with it for this one. I'll have to figure it out. Later. All right, so I have a whole group of tropes that I have at the bottom. So the first one I'm going to do is Final Girl. So with this one, usually it's more of a slasher, and then there is going to be a final girl at the end. Unfortunately, you don't usually know that there's going to be a final girl at the end. A good example, without spoiling anything, would be Tastes Like Candy. I'm going to put that one in depends on how it's handled. I'm going to do Usually a Winner. I don't mind final girls. Like I said, you never really know that they're going to be there until you get to the end. The next one is Hurt or Dead Animals, and that one's definitely no. I unfortunately had the displeasure of finding out that there was some of this in a book I read recently that I was not expecting. There are certain circumstances where if it's not detailed at all, like I'll be okay if it's like there was a dead mouse, like I'm fine. But if you overly explain how they look, that's no. All right, and then Bad Guy Won't Die. This one, it depends on how it's handled. Again, you don't really know because usually that's a twist. But I don't like where you think that the bad guy is dead and then all of a sudden he's back. Like, stay dead unless it's a zombie book or vampires, paranormal, I guess. All right, the next one is Stranger Comes to Town. So a very good example would be the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I do like that one. Usually, like, it has me if I know that that's going to happen, because usually the person's either super creepy or you think that they're super amazing and you find out later that they're super creepy. Next is Creature in the Woods. I will always read Creature in the Woods stories unless I know for sure that there is going to be hurt and dead animals, and then I will either proceed with caution or just not read it. Next is Crazy Woman stories. That I'm going to say needs another trope with it. You don't see a Crazy Men stories as much, but I feel like they would make more sense, because in true crime, like day to day, it's more the husbands that kill the wives and the wives that kill the husbands. So it just isn't very realistic to me, on top of the bad mental health rep. All right, so the next one is refusing to acknowledge blank. So in this, I chose, so refusing to acknowledge that the house is haunted, refusing to acknowledge that somebody is chasing them, refusing to acknowledge that they're lost and they need to turn around and go back the way that they came, or things like that. So this one's usually a winner to me, because I think that it's always hilarious when I'm just yelling at the book and I'm like, why do you not understand that it's a ghost? Or whatever. Next is summoning evil. I don't really read summoning books, but I have read the Merciless series by Danielle Vega, so I guess maybe. I need something else to get me into it first, though. All right, and then creepy small town. I live in the middle between two small towns. They're not creepy, but that one's usually a winner for me, unless they villainize small town people, and then I sometimes have a problem with it, because I don't think just because you live in a small town that you are necessarily a bad person right off the bat. All right, no outside communication. So that means no internet, no phones. I'm going to go with, depends on how it's handled. So I don't mind it if they're on like a deserted island and they don't have signal, but if it's just like they're not using their brains about being able to use outside communication, I don't understand it. So like if they could find a radio, but they are just like, what's the point, or something like that, that's where I would struggle with that. All right, next is aliens. That definitely needs another trope with it. I'm not huge on aliens. I've read a couple of alien books. The only way that I like alien horror is usually if it's like dead silence sort of alien. Even that is just more spooky. So I don't think I'm much for alien horror. Next is Creature in the Water. That is 100%. I love Creature in the Water. Into the Drowning Deep by Mara Grant. Two of my favorite movies are The Meg and The Meg 2. Just give me the creatures that are in the water. Next one is dreams. And so this is if you don't know if something was a dream or if it was real, or waking up and it was all a dream. I have chronic nightmares, so I'm good. I don't need to like start wondering if my nightmares are real or not. So, next is car won't start. This is one that usually I don't know about. I'm going to put depends on how it's handled. If it's something along the lines of the bad guy like pulled the spark plugs or something like that, like I'm good if it's they run out of gas or something. But if it's just all of a sudden like their car dies, it's a little weird to me. It reminds me like more EMP sort of thing. Speaking of which, I don't have apocalyptic on here, but post-apocalyptic would be in, I will always read them. I love post-apocalyptic books. Technology attacks. Okay, well, we'll say that's, no, because I was thinking more of robots for that one. So I'm going to say it depends on how it's handled. AI attacking, so robots, cyborgs, I'm generally okay with it. But it can't be to where the alien, like the cyborgs and things, are so smart that the humans have absolutely no chance. Next is hallucinations. I'm going to do needs another trope with it. Again, a good one for this is dead silence. They have hallucinations in there, but it's from her past is part of it. It's not just what's happening. Found footage. That one's usually a winner. There are some found footage books I can't follow. They're a little more difficult for me, but I'm usually pretty good with found footage books. Next one is carnivals and clowns. That one depends on how it's handled. I've read some that are really good, and then I've read some that are just for like the gore factor, and I'm not really for just like the gore factor. I'd like it to like make sense why they're in a carnival or why they're clowns. All right, so next is bad weather, and for this one I was thinking, I'm gonna move Carter's. No. All right, and then the next one is bad weather. So with this one, I was thinking tornado, hurricane, shipwrecked because of the weather. That one, generally I need something else to go with it. So like if they get shipwrecked, like also give me some sort of haunting or animals attack or something, creature in the woods sort of thing. Next is isolation. I love isolation. Some of my favorite horror books are ones that are set in the woods. Next is infection / pandemic. I'm putting like parasites in with this too. I just listened to Parasite by Mara Grant, and I don't think that they're necessarily for me. Like I do like maybe like biological warfare sort of things, but not if it's people don't know what's going on or people aren't being smart about it. All right, so they were warned. That one, no, because I just wonder why they're so stupid all the time. Like, you were warned not to go into the haunted building. You go into the haunted building, you guys start dying. I don't feel sorry for you. Haunted is the next one. I love Darcy Coates. Most of her books are haunting books, so 100%. I am down for haunted books, haunted movies. Trusting the rando. So for this one is when a good one for this is The Woodkin that I just read recently. He is actually hiking the Pacific Crest Trail, and he decides that he should just trust the random people he comes across and the random town he comes across. And the whole time I was asking him why he was so stupid. So I'm going to say no, because I don't trust random people. I don't understand why other people trust random people. Like, have a little bit of like self-preservation. House with history. This one reminds me of... So this I'm going to say is different than haunted. This is more along the lines of that book by Catriona Ward, The Last House on Needless Street, where like there's a creepy dude that lives in it and everybody's like, oh, that house is super creepy. Like that's the sort of thing I'm going for. Or then like kind of like in the new, it's not a horror movie, but in the new Jumanji movie, in the first new Jumanji movie with The Rock, where they go towards that like house where they're like, oh, the creepy dude lives in there. All right, and then next is cannibals. I'm going to say needs another trope with it. If it's just people eating people, that's a little much. But if there's like other things with it, like we'll get to religious, then yeah, sure. All right, will not ask for help. This one, if a sheriff comes to you and asks you, hey, do you need help? And you're like, oh, no, I don't need help. And you're like, logic in your mind for whatever reason is, I can handle this on my own. No. Religious, this just depends on how they handle it. I don't like The only religious books I really like are like cults. I like culty books. I don't necessarily care for like Catholic, Christian, any of that sort of thing. But give me a good cult horror book, I'm down. And then last is Creepy Kids. This the Woodkin also has. I just don't like with the Woodkin. Creepy Kids. Needs to have another trope with it, I believe. Yeah. And then I would put up here post-apocalyptic. I would put up here as well. Alright, so I just went and made apocalyptic real quick. That's pre, mid, and post-apocalyptic. I love myself some good have to figure out a way to survive as the world's falling apart books. Alright, so here is my tier ranking for all of my horror tropes. If you have any recommendations, especially for any in the top 2, or any of them maybe with the third or fourth one with some of the top 2, let me know down below. Go ahead and subscribe and like, and I will see you next time. Bye!